Hooray! Aloha and welcome to Wisdom Dialogues with Hope Johnson, coming to you from Hawaiian Paradise Park. I almost said beaches. Hawaiian Paradise Park on the beautiful big island of Hawaii. Yes, yes. So this is exciting, you guys. All of a sudden, first of all, I have not had a perception of myself having a New Year's resolution in I don't know how long. I can't even say. And then all of a sudden on New Year's Day, I get the perception that I'm having a New Year's resolution and I'm stoked. I'm totally stoked. You know what occurred for me is I got the perception that something was being threatened. Okay. And then, and in that moment, I realized, oh my gosh, this is so easy. I'm absolving the world of judgment just by my decision to save everyone from judgment. It's easy. It's really easy. It's easeful. Now, it just depends on how I'm looking at it in the moment. It's like, what is this for? Okay. So we're going to take it as being for something. Okay. Either it's for protecting our self-image, saving our self-image, saving ourselves, right? Or it's for saving the whole world from the threat of guilt and judgment. See, it's like we just decide in that moment. It's like, when we get triggered, it's because we think the life is real and whatever we think we see is actually meaningful. See, it's tricky because when we think we see something, we automatically take it as we're right. We freaking see it. But all we can perceive, we don't see here, we perceive. All we can perceive is what we wished for. See, we wished for separation. We wished for specialness. And we're still wishing for that. Otherwise, we wouldn't get a perception of a body. So as we go through the vicissitudes of our lives, right? Yeah, that's just all the little pieces that, all the little emotional waves, different fluctuations, perceptions, whatever. As we travel through the vicissitudes of our lives, noticing what we're using it for. See, because it can only have two purposes. Whatever you're perceiving can only have two purposes. It's either to keep projecting this sense of separation or for undoing that sense of separation. And there's not anything in between. So it's all like, what are you using it for? One of my friends asked me, she feels drawn toward fashion type stuff. And, she was concerned that this might be like a foray into vanity and doesn't want to go into vanity. And it's like, that's not where the vanity is. It's in the moment. It's only in the present moment. What are you using that for? See, if you think you're using it to get notoriety, money, and if you think you're using it for anything like that, you're using it in a way that's hurting you. The only real motivator that's of any value in anything is using it for revealing the innocence, is another way to say it. Saving everyone from your judgment. And the way that came to me, it was like, to save everyone from judgment. The way that came to me is someone told me, someone got triggered with me and told me, I'm not going to save you on that one. And the way I heard it is, oh, that's so sweet. You're not going to save me from your judgment. That's so cute. I mean, I didn't actually say that to the person, but it was like, oh, I feel that. I'm not gonna save you from my judgment. I feel that. I've done it a bunch of times. Right. So then I took that as an opportunity to be like, just within myself again, this didn't come out of my mouth or anything. It's like, well, I'll be sure to save you from mine. Right. Because that's the important thing. It doesn't really matter if anyone's going to save me from their judgment. That's not relevant. Their energy doesn't affect me. Okay. Let's say it like that. Let's say it like this. If they're in delusion, if they're in suffering, that's because of me. So I take responsibility for that. But I don't allow it to affect me unless I'm taking my body in this world to be for something that it's not. Then I'm going to let it affect me, and I'm going to pretend that I'm sensitive to other people's energy or some shit like that. But really, no one has any power to have any effect on my energy. Like, I'm not vulnerable to anyone else's energy. Okay. So someone reflecting to me that they're not willing to save me from their judgment, that really doesn't affect me. You know, it's giving me an opportunity. It's like, well, automatically, you know, it's showing me kind of in a comical, kind of playful way too. It's like, oh, you know, the natural, or you could say the habitual, not the natural, but the habitual knee-jerk reaction to that is to feel bad that someone won't save you from their judgment. You know, it's to feel bad. And it's kind of like, this is a bad feeling that a person is trying to share with you. It is a bad feeling they're trying to share only because they don't know. They don't realize they can't share it. They don't realize it only irritates them more. They don't know that. So what they need in that moment is just compassion. And since there's no one that's outside of us, we're only seeing, remember, we think we see based on what we wish to see. So, you know, it's like your wish to see is nothing compared to your will to see reality. So the wish to see nonsense, the wish to see delusion, separation, specialness is still erecting itself in my view. Yet the will to see reality is so much more powerful than that it doesn't stand a chance. I don't mind what pops up in my view. It could be anything. And you know, as far as resolutions go, I'm just real playful with them. It's not like, oh, now I have to do something with this. And I'm not afraid of the word. It's like, I'm not afraid of, oh no, that would be wrong or unspiritual if I had a resolution. It just really doesn't matter. And I don't really have it. It's just playing. It's like, oh, this is exciting. Wow, this feels good. Yeah, like fuck yeah, like that. You know? But it's not like it's not like I can say, okay, I promise to do this for the whole year, and then I'm just automatically going to do this for the whole year. You guys know you got to be present for it. Because when the lessons come, they take you off balance. They tend to take you off balance. They tend to make you believe that something is a problem. And, you know, it's really fun too when you live with people, because it's like people like to do things different ways when you live in a house together. So different people like to do things different ways. And, you know, like how it is for me, like if anyone needs it to be a certain way, like they really need it to be a way, I am not even going to fight them on that. It's just like, okay. If I perceive a preference within myself, and I'm not saying that this is the right way for everyone to do it, it changes all the time. I mean, it's just that, you know, you learn that it's not anything that means anything. You got to play it out though to learn it, because you got to see that, you know, as you're going for something, like trying to control how things are done, let's say in your house or your business, or let's say just in society, you know, when you're trying to control how things are done, it takes a lot of energy, mental energy. I'm not really into it. I'm not really into using my mental energy like that. So, unless something is like, this is really killing me. Uh, but, it's like I'd prefer, let's say that we only use a certain kind of sponge because the other one seems like it's like made of this foam nasty shit that I don't want to touch. Right. And, it just like people in my house still prefer that sponge. And it's like, fine, let them have it. Or uh, kids prefer to eat a bunch of candy and ding dongs and stuff like that. And you as a parent prefer that they eat whatever you think kids should be eating, right? Um, for me, I just let that be what it is. I'm not afraid of the food at all. But if someone's afraid of what food, like the food they think the kid is gonna, it's gonna kill the kid if they eat a certain food, don't tempt the ego on that. Just notice that whenever you're trying to make someone do something a certain way, like kind of like asserting that way and trying to make them be a certain way because you think that's more comfortable for you, notice that it's nothing. It's totally meaningless. You're all you're doing is playing out different patterns, which there's nothing wrong with that. So noticing that it's meaningless, eventually over time you'll come to see, wow, I have so much more quiet because I actually don't mind about how so many things go down. It really doesn't matter to me how all these different things go down. It's just like, okay, I could go take a nap, so I don't have to sit around thinking about that. And you can see how notice like in the government how there's this thing about tyranny, like someone gets scared and they get emotional and they need to make a rule, right? There's like they get a perception. Drunk driving kills people, for instance. It was a drunk driver. They weren't able to drive right. We got to make it, and all this emotion, and let's make some rules. Let's make a bunch of rules, right? And that's one example. And then we keep on making rules. You see it like that. So things keep on getting tighter and tighter and tighter. The same thing goes down on smaller scales. We see something that then just decide, okay, we can't allow that anymore. You see something, okay, we can't allow that, until it gets tighter and tighter and tighter until you just have this narrow thing. There's just like no openness. And here's the thing, when something occurs that seems like an accident or something like that, it's not a fucking accident. It is not an accident. You know why those things occur? You know why anything occurs? For awakening your mind. It's not for learning how to avoid accidents in the material realm. That's like, one way to say that is that's barking up the stupid tree, because all it's going to do is manifest self-importance. You are needed to try to prevent, like Fire Marshal Bill, right? You are needed to try to prevent accidents from happening. And then you get the perception that you're needed to prevent accidents from happening. Your wish is my command, is what the universe is saying. So it's like when you perceive an accident or something like that, it's time to pay attention because your patterns are up. The reactive patterns are occurring right now. Just like pay attention. Can you be grateful for that? Oh, thank goodness that occurred. Other day there was a driver over here and they backed into my gate, and the first thing that occurred to me, oh, thank goodness. There's lessons coming. That's all. Oh, that's awesome. You hit the gate. This is awesome. And then, for sure, it's like whenever there's a sense that something has gone wrong, it's time to pay attention because lessons are coming. It's not time to try to avoid it in the future. That's where people don't get it. That's why we keep on making more of the same. Because it's like as if, okay, if we want to prevent this, then all we have to do is learn how to prevent it. See, it's like whack-a-mole like that, because it doesn't matter how good you get at learning how to prevent it. I mean, look, we're trying to prevent, this is how insane it gets. We're trying to prevent kids' clothes from catching on fire by doing what? By spraying poisonous chemicals all over them. Isn't that cute? It's adorable. These are good intentions, I think. You know, there's so many things that seem to be, and it also could be that someone has an intention, a sinister intention. It could be that someone has a sinister intention. Can that affect you? No. Can it affect anyone? No. But fear makes it as if it's so. Fear makes that as if it's so. So take the whole thing with the idea that there is a danger from microbes, such as virus and bacteria. We have really screwed ourselves into thinking that these things are real and meaningful, okay? Thinking that they have some kind of power to affect us. You know, we had to spend millennium holding this thought up to make it, because it's so self-denying that something in the world can harm us. It's so self-denying. We had to try really hard to make this our reality. And now it seems like we're actually vulnerable to these little tiny fucking microscopic things. You can't even see them, so you can't even defend yourself against them. It's great. There's not one bit of reality to that. There's not one bit of reality to it. And I know some of my friends hear that and they have such a fucking problem with that, because there's been so much conditioning to oh man, if anyone says this stuff is real, if anyone says this stuff isn't real, or they question it or anything, they must want to kill people. See, this is something that it's like when I get a perception of something like that, I'm like, oh yes, thank you. That's what I wanted to see. And that's the thing. We're always getting a perception of what we want to see. So why not have fun with it? I think it's pretty fun and funny. It's awesome. And from time to time, I do experience someone who seems to have a problem with something that I say, and I just allow them to let me know. And I thank them. I just allow them to let me know, and I thank them. So there's not really much of a conversation to be had there unless they are actually open to some conversation, and then there will be that. But it's not something that we have to, and it's not something that anyone really should, unless your goal is to uphold the world, fight against or condemn. And when you're talking about condemning, let's watch the tone. Let's just pay attention to the tone, because we are getting the perception that we are perceiving so much insanity. Okay, it's as if you have to suffer to be well. You do not have to suffer to be well. That's a silly thing. Okay, one example of that, of how the mind has gone mad, is that you would have to have poisons injected into your body in order to make your immune system strong. Okay, just look at that. I don't care what scientific experiment you did on this. For one, just that you have to undergo anything that's painful at all. Anything that might have any kind of side effects at all, anything like that, anything that's propped up in that way. You don't need anything for healing to occur. You don't need anything. And people have asked me, are you talking to people that are like born with a physical condition or something like that too? Well, here's the thing. I know it seems like it's more difficult to see through an illusion of someone who's had a sickness from the beginning since they were born than it is to see through, let's say, a cold that someone just caught in the experience. But there's no difference between them, because they're both just illusory. They're both based on a false belief. They're both based on the same false self-concept. So there's really no difference between them. So it's just admitting that there is no difference between something small, something large. It's admitting that if I am getting the perception that someone is sick, whether it seems to be my own body or one in my perception, someone is in pain, someone is struggling, anything like that, it's all coming from me. So it's given me to release everyone from the judgment that makes that seem like it's possible. It's given me to release the world. And that's how it is for each one of us, because our perception of the world is subjective. What we perceive of the world is what we wanted to see for ourselves. We wanted to see our specialness. This is specialness being played out. Here's specialness being played out. And it's only when there is a desire, well, there's already desire there, but when your will is more aligned with the desire for peace, you can call it peace, awakening, escaping from the world of darkness, it's all right now. It's not in the future. When you want that more, then you want to uphold your wish for separation. You know how you know? You're willing to lay down your whole perception, what you made of it, willing to say, I wanted it like this. It's like this because I wanted it like this. And why did I want it like this? I wanted to live in specialness. I wanted to be special. I wanted to demonstrate my specialness. Okay, the thing is, love doesn't have anything to do with specialness. Okay, because a special love would have to take love away from the whole. That's not possible. That's why we're perceiving an impossible world. It's an impossible world, the world we perceive, with bodies that seem to be vulnerable. So when we prop up something like a virus that's dangerous, or on the other side of that, like a government that's a danger to us, the thing is, they're never a threat. A mandate doesn't mean anything. Okay. And you don't have any choice in what you do anyways, and everything is coming. So who minds how it goes? Who's really going to jump up and say, hey, I mind how it goes, other than the ego, right? And for my activism friends who listen to Wisdom Dialogues, this is not saying that you can't engage in activism. Look, you don't do anything. You don't do the activism. You actually can't help that. Okay. So you don't actually do that. When I found myself in activism for a year, I couldn't help it. When it was time for me to be done with activism after that year, I couldn't help that either. We don't have a choice in any of this stuff. We've only convinced ourselves that we have a choice. So we make up reasons why we do things. All you have to do, it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're, I don't know, you're going in guns blazing, let's say. I'm not suggesting anyone do that, but let's just say you're going in guns blazing. What is it for? See, if you're going there because you're really attached to and you really think that the government needs to change their ways, otherwise things are going to go to shit, you're using it for the ego's purpose. So it's always what you're allowing to motivate you. And that's always in the moment. So my sister-in-law said something today. It was so cute. She said how she's struggling with being either lazy or fun. She's either lazy or fun. She's not working though. She's just struggling because she's either lazy or fun. And it's like the answer to that is, I love that I'm either lazy or fun, and I don't like to work, apparently. That's the answer, to stop struggling. See, the only reason you would be unwilling to stop struggling right now is because you're using the perception to try to get a better perception of yourself, like you're working. And see, when you're willing to say, I love that about myself. And it's so fun when I share this with people too, because they'll just be like, I struggle with this. And I was like, can't you just say that you love that about yourself? Why is there always something to change? Why is there always something? Someone was asking me about marijuana and other psychedelic things. And it's like, why are you even asking about that? Why are you even asking about that? If there are two levels and one of them doesn't matter, what level is that fucking on? Are you high? Just kidding. Are you freaking high? Is that why you're asking me that? Is it all right if I drink water with lemon? It's like the same thing. Is it all right if I scratch my ass? Those questions are all the same. Is it all right if I do this? All right. Here's the thing. You're not capable of doing anything. So you're either going to decide that you're not capable of doing anything or you're going to decide that you are capable of doing something, and then you'll have to defend it. You have to defend what you do if you're capable of doing things. See, you can kind of sense the energy there. When someone goes, why did you smoke 3 joints yesterday? Let's say, why did you smoke 3 joints yesterday? You go, well, the reason, I was having a really strong moon cycle and I had cramps. Okay, this is a fun one, because this is how we condemn ourselves, like, doubly. Okay, first we're explaining ourselves. First we stop and we have to find a reason why, it would seem acceptable that we, for instance, smoked 3 joints yesterday. That would seem acceptable. What's that song? It's 2 joints. I smoked 2 joints in the morning and then, okay, never mind. But say you smoke 6 joints, whatever, it doesn't matter. Why did you do yoga all day yesterday? Same question, really. It's the same thing. It's like you didn't have a choice in that. And, when someone asks you something like that, it's not like you have to get defensive. Oh, why are you asking me that? I don't have a choice in that. It's just kind of like, let it flow, whatever it is. Let the words flow, because that teaches you. Let your reactions, watch your reactions, watch your words flow. Focus on being loving to yourself, because there's only yourself, and the other person will be able to be nourished by that. Okay, so it's like, hey, why did you do that? Why did you think you should smoke 3 joints? Oh, I was in so much pain. I was on my moon and I thought I would take some pressure off and stuff like that. Okay, so that's making this cramp thing real, this crampy thing real. Okay, no amount of ganja is going to take the cramps away. That's not true. Okay, it's not to say that you might not get that perception that it did. Okay, but the thing is, you don't need an excuse for doing anything. You don't need any excuse for doing anything, ever. The only one who's making it like you need an excuse is you, or you need to justify it or something. Your 16-year-old son just told you he's gonna get circumcised today. Oh, he's got balls. No pun intended. Or maybe it was. So what is that for you? See? What is that for you? That's what I'm interested in. What is that? What is it? Is it fun? If it's not fun, then I don't know, you might want to bring out why you think it's not fun. And then I can help you with it. But the thing is itself is no thing. Okay. I will say this. I've seen one of those go down, a circumcision. Oh boy. I don't know if that boy watched any videos first. See what's up. Damn. People going for some painful stuffs. I want you to make my wiener like a mushroom. like it is on Mario Brothers. So cute. Yeah, we give ourselves pain. We've been trained, conditioned, and it's like we set the conditioning in motion too. We set the conditioning up like this. So it seems like we have to go through pain. You've heard the story, no pain, no gain. Okay. That's the mantra for the one that's using the perception and the body for personal gain. Okay. It's like no pain, no gain. And all the gain leads to more pain. That's how that goes. It's just setting yourself up for dis-ease. So we can, and we will, because it's given us and our success is guaranteed. We will at some point in time be able to see through all matters of dis-ease because the perceiving any kind of dis-ease is coming from our own mind, and it has to do with a wish to see things separate. Okay. In the wish to see things separate, there's this hatred of the self. There's this hatred, the self-hatred. That's why there's like this seeking for love. These are all ego thoughts, though they don't have anything to do with you. You could say that your creator never changed his or her, however you want to look at it, mind about you. The creator never changed its mind about you. You changed your mind about yourself and the creator and all your brothers and sisters. You changed your mind about that. So because your mind is so powerful, you've made this illusory world, and it's as if these things are really happening, but none of these things are happening. So I've been looking in this direction for probably my whole life, but really kind of like got on the track with it, where it was like I was like started to be laser focused, probably like, I don't know, 12 years ago or so, just 12 years ago. It seems like a lot has transpired since then. It seems like I've become a completely different person, been completely things that would get me in a tizzy, of course, not a thing anymore. It's the way I'm able to relax with whatever it is, like even if someone's angry or something like that, there's no doubt in my mind that if I keep on looking in the same direction, which I will, because once you get a taste for it, it's like, oh gosh, no way am I getting off of this. And you keep on looking in the direction, it's going to keep on going not the same. Now here's another question that comes up in it. Who is it that's looking in the direction? See, the ego or the sense of self is going to jump up and say, oh yeah, and get really excited about it and be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to keep on doing this like this. So it's like even taking a step back on that and just watching that play. It's not to make it wrong or anything like that, but you're really watching a play of awakening. You're not even the one going, okay, I'm going to look in this direction. Okay. I did get some guidance in that, where the guidance I was actually getting is, it's okay, just keep on looking in the same direction. It was like I was getting guidance from the spirit, because things would seem bleak to me at certain points, or I'd feel confused or not get it or something like that. And I was so much blind. There was just so much blindness, so I'd get confused and really upset, and I'd cry a bunch and stuff like that. And I just kept on having this, like as a whisper, like, keep looking in the same direction. It's like I could sense this direction, and it's going, and it's like there's this thread of bliss through everything, through the vicissitudes of a life. There's this thread of bliss, and it's always calling me, and it's always calling me to that. And then that's where all my lessons are. So I'm able to relax a lot. Now, I know a lot of friends who love A Course in Miracles. I know I love A Course in Miracles too. And I think it's freaking awesome. And I didn't run into it till 2014. I did not even pick that book up until 2014. That's only 7 years ago. I have friends who have been studying it for decades, and they're telling me they still don't get it like I got it. And see, here's the thing. It has to do with at that sense of letting everything be as it is. Because there's always this trying to fix the individual. And that seems to be the deepest conditioning that people got. And who knows, maybe I just didn't buy into that conditioning as much as other people do. But here's the thing, it's safe to relax that conditioning. And that's the thing, it feels unsafe for people to release, to just release and notice that there's this draw to try to make what you thought you saw into reality, because there's a fear of losing that sense of self. Look, your self-image is completely upheld by what you think you see and what you try to make real. That's what puts this whole thing together and makes it into something, okay? So it's safe to relax your judgments. Basically, you're releasing everyone, including yourself. There is really only yourself, but in the dream, there's other people. So in the dream, you're releasing other people. You're releasing other people from your judgment, from what you made of them. Okay, that's all there ever is. That's all there ever is to do. You're releasing yourself and others from judgment. Eventually, you're going to release the whole world, and you're going to see that what you thought was here was never even here. Okay. Okay, Maria's back with her 16-year-old who's getting circumcised today. I'm not worried. I'm focusing on peace. I'm not going to make it wrong. I trust he is safe. Yes, he's safe because he's not a body. I mean, you know, that's the thing. He's safe because he's not a body. He get the perception of anything, you know. You get perception of, I don't know, he's a eunuch, for instance. I don't know. You know, it's like, but the thing is, there's no body. So whatever it is that whatever it is that he needs to have an experience of, and you need to have an experience of, you need to perceive, you're going to get that perception, like all the perceptions are coming. So training yourself not to tense up is one thing, you know. It's like training yourself not to tense up. Like whenever you get a reaction, it could be just a little bit of irritation. It could be a mosquito bit you, right? So you're just like feeling irritated or something. Just in turning your attention into the body's energy field, noticing how you feel, notice if you're willing to get relief. You can't get relief if you're wondering why God created mosquitoes. God didn't create mosquitoes. There's the answer to that. But you know, if you're on some of that that kind of wonderment, or maybe I should get one of those electric fly swatters where it just zaps all the mosquitoes or something like that. You know, you're not allowing the peace for yourself. When you're allowing the peace for yourself, you're not looking for solutions or anything. Solutions pop up. They just present themselves to you. You don't have to look for them. So if you use these little tiny irritations, you're going to become more sensitive to when you're thrown off guard, and you can use the big ones much in the same way. It's almost like an Olympic athlete would be training for the big event. It's kind of like they're training for the big event, because you know there's gonna be most likely big events, like shattering events, like oh my goodness. Okay, so you might as well not spend your time resisting that. You could spend your time training for that and undoing the thought of separation as you go. I mean, that's really why it works. So it's like these little disappointments, like, oh no, let's say my son left the toilet seat open. I don't think he's been doing that anymore. I don't know if he is, I'm not noticing. But let's say my son's leaving the toilet seat open. You get a reaction to that. That reaction right there is one of those opportunities. That's all it is. It doesn't matter if you tell the son, hey, would you please close the seat? Or hey, you asshole, close the seat, or whatever. You're allowing yourself to get compassion. All that stuff on the surface, it'll take care of itself. Don't try to control how you speak. Don't try to control your word. Just let it present itself to you. There it is. Or how you react. Just like let it present itself to you. Okay. Be curious and open to whatever it is. The whole perception is one, and that includes what you seem to say and do. The whole thing is one, and it is a means for healing the whole thought of separation and restoring your sight of what's true reality, where there's nothing but innocence. Okay. There's nowhere, no one gets annoyed. No one, no one is capable of doing, no one seems capable of doing something that can upset another person or disappoint a person. Oh, that's disappointing. That's disappointing. I can't be disappointed anymore. Who will I be? That'll be disappointing if I can't be disappointed. I'm so disappointed. Yeah, my daughter was going through it for a little while because my daughter's 29. She's going through it for a little while because when she was a teenager and stuff, she was always scared of disappointing me. And I was easily disappointed. so, so she went through that for a while. And then she realized that I don't know if it's really realizes the right way, but she was like, I'm so happy that I can't disappoint you. She's like, I even had a dream about it and I wasn't able to disappoint you in the dream. You started acting disappointed and I just told you, Mom, you can't do that. And you said, oh yeah. And yet when I was hanging out with her this summer, she thought she did something that would have disappointed me. And I was kind of surprised. I was like, really? Think I'm going to be disappointed? Mom, I'm sure you're going to be disappointed about this. And I go, well, you better say it then. And let me know what it is. Because I know what I'm going to be disappointed about. And it was so funny because when she said it, it wasn't even like anything I had to like check in with myself about. It was just like obviously not disappointing. It was like really odd. In fact, it was like, thanks for doing that. Like, not like thanks for doing that because I can use it for healing. Thanks for doing that. That's what I meant to do. It's exactly what I thought I wanted. So, we learn through like I said, the particulars or the vicissitudes of the life. We learn through those things. We learn that there's no reason to struggle, absolutely no reason to struggle, and we put the struggle on ourselves. I struggle with, no, you don't struggle with that. You just choose to struggle. You don't struggle with anything. There's nothing there. There's no laziness. There's no lethargy. There's no overeating. There's no over consuming. There's no whatever. Not enough, too much, all that stuff that we lay on ourselves. There is nothing like that. You struggle because you choose to struggle. You choose to make what you think you see about yourself and about the world real, so it could give you a way to uphold your self-image. Underneath that, there's this deathly fear of losing yourself, of losing everything you made because of the identification with an ego. You're not that fearful ego. So this whole thing is for undoing your association as an ego so that you can share the same vision that God has of you. You can say that's a trajectory you're on. That's the end goal. So you share the vision of yourself that's true, the only vision that's possible. You're able to view yourself as something that you're not because you have the power to view the effects of your wishes. You have that power to view the effects of your wishes, but that doesn't make it real. It makes it very real for you, but it doesn't make it real. Okay. So when it's real for you, it's real for you because you get a sense, an upset feeling of fear, concern, irritation, anger, anything like that. That's how you know you made it real. If you'll ask for a correction in that, the correction will be given and your sight is restored immediately. Just immediately. You're done with that upset feeling. Okay, Niall, yes.
Hi,
Yes,
Hope. Hi, Hope. Can you hear me?
I hear you. I'm so happy to hear you.
I'm so happy to see you too. Thank you so much for your message that you're sharing. And I was listening to it. I just got back home from my stepfather being in a coma.
Uh-huh.
But he's doing great. My question.
Yeah.
Um, I'm having a challenge with as far as with I have one of my siblings that is that I don't want to say he's an alcoholic or blah blah blah, but I just a lot of like there's a lot of drama. The whole time there was drama while he was there.
Uh-huh.
Um and I found myself not being able to be loving at times. And
Okay.
then I would catch myself again. I would be loving and just look into his eyes and be kind in the
Uh-huh.
midst of all the stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm just curious as far as what is really happening as far as what am I mirroring or what am I bringing. I know you've had this experience. You talked about it with your sister when she pulled your pant or whatever like that, and you get these moments of where you get upset and you're just like, I want to,
Uh-huh.
and you get frustrated, right?
Uh-huh.
But I find myself being kind and loving, but then I lose also my peace. I'm losing my peace in the midst of the aftermath. Like I pass the test, I'm kind, I'm loving, but then as I'm
Okay.
right now I'm going home, I'm just like I'm 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 just
You're
like a little
exhausted.
bit uneased. What?
You're probably exhausted from that.
Yes, I'm just wondering how do I how do I navigate that? And all I'm saying is because like he called me right now and I was just like, what do you need? Like I was very like to the point, what do you need exactly? Because is my dad okay? Is our stepdad okay?
Yeah.
What is exactly? No, I just wanted to talk and right now I can't talk. I'm traveling. So I feel like I'm dealing with a 2 year old, but I'm also like I'm wondering what's happening as far as like, yeah, thank you. That's my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
Yeah.
So you don't need to pass any tests, okay?
Okay.
So you don't need to be kind and loving as far as your words and stuff like that because you don't have a choice in any of that. So
Okay.
when it feels like when it feels like you're getting like burnout and you're not feeling good inside, you have not allowed the kind, loving stuff for yourself. Okay. So it seems like these people are outside of you. And I know this feels like a challenge. And that's
Yeah.
because of our identification with an ego as an ego. And you may need to go through it several times before you see through it. Um, but don't like take any kind of fault or anything like that. Just keep on going into it and feeling it out because you need to receive the blessing first before you can share it.
Correct.
Okay. So when you're feeling unloving in the room, and you'll notice that arises, something someone might say might trigger you or something like that. When you sense an unloving vibe, that's the moment you need release. So, in that moment, you may like you if you're open to it, you may be led to just leave the room for a few minutes and get some relief, kind of like give your mind over for healing and then revisit the situation. I've had instances like that before where it's just like, oh, excuse me, I'm gonna take a break over here, or I'm going to the restroom or something like that, and just to get the mind clear because it's so distracting with a bunch of different people seeming to be around you, and it's distracting as in they seem to be outside of yourself. So
Right.
it's like this person that you're going this sister of yours that seems to be an alcoholic, um that's also, it's like, oh, I want her to be like that, that's why I see her like that, this is what I want.
Right. And
Yeah,
and
it's
I
always for you.
yeah, I caught myself on that because I realized like I was labeling him like that he's been an alcoholic and all of this, all these things that but I caught myself being judgmental, and I navigated correctly. Like I'm comfortable the way I navigated what I was loving, but
Yeah.
the aftermath is what messes with my head. And my wife said, like, you just need to talk to Hope about that because the aftermath is like what I'm dealing with. Like, I don't like feeling that way where I feel like I'm worried, or was I too harsh, or am I too white?
Ah.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's kind of like our training. For those of you who don't know, Niall and I both grew up in the Children of God.
Mhm.
Yeah, he was in the same thing. That's why, he's talking about passing a test. That's something that we were conditioned with. like
Yeah.
like you're supposed to do it right. And so that's why you're looking back now and you're kind of nitpicking yourself and stuff. So there's this one quote in the Tao Te Ching that always stuck out in my mind, and I'm probably gonna cheese it up because I don't know it word by word, but it's like the master does her work and then lets it be.
I love
See,
it.
you're just so it's like in that moment where you're getting a sense like you did like, did I do it all right? Was I okay? Was I loving enough? Was I kind
Mm,
enough? That's right there is your opportunity to see that this line of questioning is only coming from the ego. It's not relevant. There's no past. You weren't even in there with your dad. You didn't even go through that stuff. It's not even real.
okay. Same way with death. When death occurs or anything like that, the 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 attitude, like, of peace, of not believing that there is a death. And
Yes.
um I found myself being that way and making people very uncomfortable.
Okay. Yeah, that's because you don't believe it.
Okay.
That's why.
All right. All right. Well,
So
oh
so
wow.
that
Well, thank
so
you.
let it be like this. Their
Mhm.
their per- their their projection, like whatever you perceive of them, like if you're making people feel uncomfortable, that you're not totally comfortable with that subject yet. That's all.
Okay.
That's all. So it's like, like I've had, saying to people and people will go like, and I'll be like, don't listen to me. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Right. Okay.
That's like you don't have to try to convince people. They're gonna see by your example there isn't any death, and you're gonna see that there isn't any death through all of these different lessons, because it's
Right.
really all the same lesson. So that's how you're even going to see through the illusion of death, and actually be like okay, not only just okay with death, but in laughing at it, because knowing that it's not possible. No
I
one
love it.
dies, no one's even born, no one dies and no one's born.
I love
But
it.
even though you can say something like that, and you can even say it with conviction, there's a sense that people do die and people are born. There's a sense of that. And that's what we have to undo whenever it comes up in the experience. So for you right now, when you're talking about aftermath, this is actually a very potent opportunity right now, because this
Mhm.
is really common. And in fact, I would experience this with wisdom dialogues for the first probably like 2 or 3 years. I would have wisdom dialogue, and I knew that thing the whole time. I was like, the master just does her work and she leaves it alone. But my mind would keep on jumping to, did I do it good enough? Did I say that wrong? Did I this? Did I that? And then eventually one day it was gone, because I was just willing to look at it as it is. So even though
I-
I find myself getting caught up in it from time to time, I just kept on being willing to look at it as it is. Now I don't even let my mind go into any kind of thought about how I did in the past. It's not relevant for me. It just became irrelevant, though, from being gentle with myself.
I see.
I'm watching myself. It's kind of like this. Let's say you're into masturbating, okay? Let's say you're
Okay.
into masturbating, but you're going, okay, And you know, and masturbating isn't really the thing. It's the mental fantasy that's feeding the thing. That's wasting time, because you're in fantasy. Any fantasy, same, right?
Right.
So say you realize you're like, wow, I've really been what a waste of time that all that sexual fantasy is. I'm not really into that anymore. It's not really appealing to me. And then one day you're sitting there and you start getting all horny and you start thinking about something and your mind starts going to that. And you're like, gosh, I can't even help it. I'm just going into fantasy. Same
Mhm.
thing. Let it
Okay.
be okay. It's the way you're looking. It's just a fantasy. It's any fantasy. So when you're looking at the past and how you did something, it's basically like you're masturbating yourself in your mind. You know, you're doing nothing. It's like a blank mind, and all it's doing is projecting that Nael can fuck up, and therefore he will at some point in time. Just wait, it's coming and it's going to be bad.
Love it. Thank you. So if I'm understanding correctly, because while I'm listening to you, I'm getting this data
Yeah,
in my heart.
right.
So when I am conflicted of my brother,
Uh-huh.
of whatever reason being, it's really because of what I'm deciding to hold him as. Like
That's
I'm deciding that, right? So
yes, because it
uh,
gives your
uh,
ego comfort. It it
you sneaky
it
ego.
yes, because it concretizes your sense of self. That's how you
Hmm.
concretize your sense of self.
Wow.
And
So
that's an attack on your body. It's attacking your body in that it's, you know, it's making you dis-ease. It's making dis-ease.
wow. Yeah, he made some comments like you should have been in jail and stuff. Like, I know so much about your past, and I was just like, I caught myself like I caught myself like taking a deep breath and not getting upset about it. But then I was like bothered by it. And then I guess I didn't. I guess it does bother me, right? I guess because it's attaching myself to the ego story, right?
Yes, but
So
you did awesome in the moment.
right.
That's the thing. You
Thank
did
you.
awesome in the moment. You didn't
Mm.
project. You didn't need to
No, I
project.
didn't.
Just because you feel it doesn't mean you have to project it. If you have to
Oh,
project it, then you will. But just because you feel it, because you know you're perceiving at a high enough level that you're like, okay, this is a reaction. I don't need to make it about the person saying something like that to me. Okay. But then you
okay.
go away and you start feeling this upset feeling. So you take that upset feeling just like you would anything else, generalize it like anything else. Don't make it about the particular circumstances.
Got it.
So you're making it general. So it's like when we attach it to specific circumstances. Look, anything that makes you question, like yourself, like something you did in the past or something like that. The only
Yeah.
thing that needs to be questioned is your sense of separation. But you're not anything that's capable of getting it wrong. And anything that you seem to do here, because of what it's for, because it's for learning how to see through the illusion, it can't be wrong. You know, when I was talking a bunch and writing a bunch on my personal Facebook page some years ago,
Yeah. Yeah.
this guy from the community came up to me and he said, you know, you're writing a lot of stuff, but you know, you're going to find out through your experience that what you're saying isn't correct. And I said, well, that's fine with me. You know
Mhm.
why? Because through all that learning, I never change. I always stay the same.
Nice.
All this changefulness that seems to occur and all the learning, that's not even happening to me. It's happening in a dream. And the man goes, oh, there's that much freedom. And I said, yeah, there's that much freedom.
Wow. Thank
Yeah.
God for thank God for you, Hope. I'm really grateful for your message, man. I'm really grateful.
Oh,
You
thank
seriously
you.
like I kind of felt that I knew this, right? But it's
Yeah,
just
you
like
do.
there's a divine confirmation that flows through you, and I'm just like so grateful.
Me too.
Thank you. Thank
Hmm.
you so much.
Thank you too, Nael. I really appreciate
Yeah.
you and Amy. Big hug from you,
Yeah.
both of you.
Yeah. We love you.
I
Yeah.
love you.
Thank you for answering my question. I'll let you.
Anytime. I love it.
Okay. I'll
Aloha.
keep listening.
Okay, sweet.
Bye.
Yeah, that's what I love to do. That's why I find myself talking a bunch. I found out. This past weekend, I spent the night at a friend's house, and then ended up having yoga in the morning. And at the end of yoga, somehow we ended up basically in wisdom dialogues for 5 hours. That wasn't a plan. That was not a plan. It just automatically. So I don't even know how the conversation even got started. It just started going, and it turned into that. And time, it was like a portal. Time just went. And the thing is, people keep on getting relief. And I love to relieve people of their burdens. And if talking is one way that arises, great. That's fabulous. I found myself talking for 5 hours straight that day. And then the next day, there's wisdom dialogues. When I go to a party, I'm going to a party tonight. This is what my experience has been lately. Whenever I go anywhere, it's like, zoom, there's a lot of people coming around me, talking, asking questions, stuff like that. I just want to say, I don't mind. Okay. I definitely don't mind if by me having a conversation with you, it could help you release some burdens. That is wonderful. I am super stoked about that. Help you to see something more clearly, get some confirmation. That's the reason that we are manifesting as bodies, to help ourselves, find our way home. And I'm super happy and blessed and grateful to do that. And here's another thing that's really interesting. When I will use my body, and this is something I've noticed very recently, when I'm willing to use my body for teaching, whenever people want to spend time with me, I was at Wisdom Dialogues Friday night, spent another 2 hours after 2 hours of Wisdom Dialogues, still talking. When I'm allowing the spirit to move me in that, and the way it's been so far, and it could change, but the way it's been so far, when someone wants my attention for healing, for getting released, something like that, I've got all the attention for them and all the energy too, all the energy for it. It feeds me, because it feeds all. So thank you, and don't be shy. And if I am going out, I know that's probably the case. It's not like, oh, she does that all the time. And don't be shy about it. I'm happy to have you come around and answer some questions and stuff, because it's a blessing to relieve us of our burdens. I would have been so upset before. Hope you have helped me so much, free my mind, and to uphold innocence. Doesn't that feel good? Now you can just make dick jokes with your son. This is the same one with a son who's getting circumcised today. Now you can just make dick jokes with them, which is so much more fun, don't you think? That's what I would be doing with my son anymore. Anyways, I mean, have it however you like it, of course. Some people don't make dick jokes with their son. Asana, I have to ask you to unmute, apparently.
Alrighty.
Yeah, girl. Oh, what a beautiful voice. Thank you for coming on.
I come on all the time.
I know. I love it. Sometimes I don't hear your sweet voice, but I see your name.
Oh, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I think you because I'm signed up with Zoom as Asana, so you really know who I am.
Oh, yes. Oh, it says Jean Shinners. I just know you.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
Oh well. Yeah. Everything's delusion, isn't it?
Yeah, isn't it so fun?
Yeah. I love it because I find myself doing the same thing you do. don't pay attention to me. I'm as crazy as fuck, you know. I'm totally delusional, right?
Right. And then at the same time, if I could help you get some relief, great.
Right?
If not, don't listen to me. I'm insane.
Right.
Nothing to see here.
And don't worry about anything you say, because I don't pay much attention to that either, really.
Nice.
Right?
Yep.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, I love having you. I'm so glad you're still doing it. Are you
Yeah.
gonna make that 5-hour wisdom dialogue available?
Oh, you know what? No one recorded it.
Oh,
No, it was just spontaneous. We didn't know it was going to go for 5 hours.
right.
We had no idea. At the end, one guy goes, I should have recorded that whole thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Once we were finally closing the portal or whatever we were doing, is that some kind of portal seemed to open there. And it's kind of like, hey, we should have recorded that whole thing. But I met new people. Everyone I was talking to was someone who hadn't heard from me before, except for Marina, the woman who I was spending the night at her house. But everyone there was and I told Marina afterwards, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize my community was so open, but I don't really have a community. It's coming from me. And I've been here for 11 years. And boy, when I first came, I was just like, wow, these people are fucking doing it wrong. What are they doing? And I was just like, I was totally full of it too. Like I was on to something, obviously, right?
Right.
But still, I was just like, look at these fuckers. What are they doing? Like they're taking it way too serious.
Right? Totally.
And no one would listen to me. I'm like watching them suffer like motherfuckers. And no one's listening to me. They're like, yeah, right, Hope. Quiet down, just stand, would you please?
Yeah, right. I got the perception that I run over people with steamroller.
With a steamroller, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
because I do that too. I get going, and I'm just like, all this energy, excitement comes up, and I just can't.
Right. That'll pass. Yeah, that'll pass. That'll pass. That'll totally pass. And enjoy it while it's there because it's fucking funny.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, and here's the thing you learn from that too. When you go through these different things where you get the perception of yourself being a steamroller, you're gonna learn through that experience, through having the experience over and over again, to get really sensitive to how they're reacting to you, like almost before they even react to you. Right?
Oh, yeah, right.
You're getting really sensitive. So it's kind of like a game where you kind of like know where to back off. It's like there's this energy play going,
Yeah, I've been like,
what's that?
Yeah, I've been like feeling everybody a lot. I mean, just feeling, I don't know what.
Yeah, you're watching their reactions to you because they're in you. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
they're not outside of you, but they're in you and they're teaching you the whole time. So they're showing you, they're showing you kind of like how you're moving. Remember I said that I was talking about the thread of bliss that goes through everything. So these people, with the way they're reacting to you, they're pointing you like it's kind of like directional, like they can show you how close or far you are from that thread of bliss. See? So it's kind of like an energy game like that. Like I noticed that one time I was talking to my mom and I forgot what it was, but she was telling me something as if this thing is true. And I said, well, that's not actually true. And then I felt the defensiveness and I immediately back off. And then I'll be like, okay. And then I'm in a really alert listening, not with an answer, with a listening vibe. And then it's like all of a sudden it seems like, and remember, we don't have a choice in this. We're actually watching the show. All of a sudden it seems like this passageway opens up for me to interject something kind of in a different way, where my mom's like, oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It's all noticing that it's all coming to from you. You're kind of like in a game with yourself. So what you see is what you get a perception of is their reaction is really like guidance for you.
Yes.
See how like just make sure you're not cutting that off. And like and here's the thing. One thing I love about you too is that you seem so playful and light with things. And I think that's like the undercurrent of all of this that's like helping you to see really quickly, you know,
Yeah.
because being playful and light with it is so important. There's nothing to be serious about here. And that's what's going to help you learn more quickly, kind of like how to play this energy game. Because it all really comes back to you're checking in with yourself and you're noticing more like, okay, their reaction, it gets to be like their reaction is more like directional for you rather than something to react to. That's why it can come out so easily and you can so easily say, don't listen to me, I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, you know. And then that ends all of the irritation from you, and that in itself is a total example, you know.
Well, Hope, where did I learn that from? I'm a very serious person. I've learned this from you. It's such a blessing. I love it because it's so freeing.
I know.
It's like, oh my God, I can't stand. I'm so serious. That person's got to go.
Serious person gotta go. I know
Gotta go.
my husband says he's the village idiot. What do I know? I'm the village idiot.
Well, we all play the fool sometime, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I found that wonderful healing for me when I would take on that energy of the fool, the card, the fool, right? Like when you're in crisis, it's like, oh, yeah, that's
I
right.
know nothing. This is
I
great.
don't right. Yeah, it's freeing. Yeah.
One of my friends asked me, what's up with you? What are you excited about? And I said, I'm excited that only love is possible. That I'm excited about the fact that only love is possible. And he's like, well, we must be seeing a lot of impossible then. And I was like, well, it's gotta be, because only love is possible.
Right.
He's like, okay, and he just like moves on to the next thing.
Yeah, right.
You're like, okay, whatever, crazy lady, you know. And here's another thing that's funny. Here's another thing that's funny. There's certain people who don't want to hear what I say at all.
Right.
And it seems like I am just made to act like a ditzy ass in front of them, which I love. I think it's great. So they can, so then they're not threatened by me. It's just kind of like, she's just a fucking idiot. Yes. What it is. Not like she's gonna be leading millions of people to know about this stuff because she's just a fucking idiot. So then there's nothing to be afraid of, right?
Right? Yeah, totally. It's like when you were saying that one person was saying something to you about how they were gonna give away your secrets or something like that, right?
Oh yeah, they're gonna tell my secret. Yeah. I'm like, I have a good solution to that. I just keep no secrets.
I do that.
How about that?
You said I do that every time on Wisdom Dialogue.
Yeah, I do it all the time.
I tell them all. What could they say?
Yeah, find one that I didn't tell.
Yeah, that's even this Finding Waldo, right? We'll find hope.
Yeah, and you know it, and if there is one that I didn't tell or forgot about it, I'm happy to get on it. Yeah, we were laughing at I was on New Year's. I had some people coming by, and we were laughing at this South Park episode where the guy's butt fucking a bat basically on the South Park episode, right?
No.
Yeah, because that's how they started COVID. This guy from South Park, he had sex with a bat. So they're
Oh
showing.
my God.
I was laughing with some of my friends. They were just telling me, no one does the spiritual stuff like you do, Hope. And I go, yeah, well, we're all unique, you know.
You're right.
You know, so we all just do it like. And so then I'm talking about the butt fucking bat thing. Like, who else would get that into their wisdom talk? Like, I'm like, I don't know. I just like to keep it fun, I guess. But it was a really good analogy though. It made sense. It's, if you guys want to watch it, it's a South Park pandemic special. I think it actually came out last year.
Oh,
You know, then on the news they're trying to find out how the pandemic all started and everything. And so they're thinking it's a bat. And then one of the guys from South Park has this memory of having fucked the bat. Like, so he gets really scared. And it's just like, it's just so funny. The whole thing, how it could just be taken and just keep on going with it. And that's really what's going on with the whole scenario, like the whole news and everything, and like making it all that's doing is it's extrapolating a belief that we're vulnerable to a threat. In this case, it's a virus, apparently. Or it's the mask with the Morgellons, or it's 5G, or it's the government, or it's whatever. You know, you want to make it. For some people, it's crypto. People make a threat out of anything. It's amazing.
yeah, that's true.
That's why, you know, and you know, it's easy for me to demonstrate that viruses aren't real, because even before I got on a train of any kind of spiritual awakening or anything like that, way before that, I actually did a whole shitload of research, material world, bookworm fucking research. I already came to that conclusion that they're not fucking dangerous, like in any sense. But it just makes it look so insane to me, because I think I know anyway, so I can't really know anything about the world. I think I know. This is what makes it really insane from my point of view. That the people that are saying that you can catch a virus actually know that it doesn't work like that. You know, it seems to be, because the information is readily available. It's just not the information that the people get. The people don't get that information. So what I love about this is I want it like that. That's why it's like that. That's why it seems to be like that. Okay, I want it like that. So why do I know this? Why do I know this? Why do I have this knowledge about viruses not being a dangerous thing, not really being a dangerous thing? Why do I have this knowledge in the first place? It's for awakening my mind from the sense of separation. Okay, so it's like the world is gonna look insane, and this looks absolutely insane to me. It does. It just looks completely insane, because because of what I come to know in my experience. Now, to people that didn't research viruses and all that kind of stuff, and they've had no kind of mind training to understand that you're not vulnerable to things, it's perfectly reasonable for them to be walking around a mask trying to prevent themselves from getting injected with poisons and all this stuff to try to avoid getting something. Perfectly reasonable. Their life experience shows that that's a reasonable thing, and that's the way and that's the way it's going to look to us, where there's always going to be something that just looks insane. Okay, this not only looks insane, it also looks like some kind of Luciferian kind of freaking agenda going on here. Okay, that may be the case in the material aspect of it, and at the same time, it seems to be like this because I wanted it to be like this. It's just perfect for me. So really, nothing's happening. The insanity looking things are perfect for me to get relief in this moment. The world is chaos. I don't really know anything that I'm looking at. I don't really know what it means. I don't really know what it means, but that's why it's easy for me to, notwithstanding knowing that I'm not vulnerable to anything, just jump in bed with a person who thinks they have COVID. I'll just jump in bed with them. You know, it's just like I have a totally different reality around that than the regular conditioned society has around that. I mean, that's like a double whammy, knowing that I'm not vulnerable, and also in the material sense, I don't even have a belief that tells me this thing is dangerous at all. And then
I
people,
know. Nobody knows what to do with you.
nobody knows what to do with me. Yeah, and you know, if you get the sense that you've caught a virus, you know, like my friend was telling me, Hope, my friend was kind of scared, I really hope you don't get sick. And I'm like, I'm not capable of getting sick. The thing is, neither are you, but you're pretending that you're sick. And you know what? Honestly, you're not even doing that good of a job pretending, because I don't even like have to try not to believe you. I just don't believe you. You're not even doing a good job pretending. And then you're pretending like you can pass that on to me and get me sick. But you know, I'm not buying into any of that stuff because I just know it's not true, number one. And also, the idea that anybody can be sick at all, notwithstanding passing it on, anybody can be sick. Like, I don't mind if I get the perception, I know I'm not capable of getting sick, but if I get the perception of getting sick, it's because I want it. Why would I fucking mind? Just like I don't mind that stupid COVID bullshit. I want it. I love it. I love that it looks like a bunch of bullshit. I love that it looks like a bunch of people went insane. It's great. It's perfect for me. It's a good opportunity. The opportunities are coming, just like they say. Hey, without COVID, maybe I wouldn't have had anything else to learn. Damn, I was almost out here and then you got COVID shit. I almost escaped this world. Can't they just cut that COVID shit out so I could just sit around and meditate? One friend told me, and he was kind of being a smart ass, you know. He wasn't sure if he was my friend yet. He was kind of looking at me, kind of heard me a couple times, and kind of going, "This chick's weird" and stuff. And he's like, "Let me ask you something. Would you even have anything to talk about if you weren't saying that the world wasn't real? What if the world was real? What if the world was real? Then what?" And I'm like, "I just talked about something else. Obviously, I'm a talker." That's when he started realizing he actually likes me. All right. Asana, are you
Yeah.
free? I have someone else with a long one for me.
Oh, sure. Yeah, bring it on. It's
So you
juicy,
can
I'm
hang
sure.
out. Yeah, of course, if you have anything more to share, you have a question, raise your hand.
Okay, will do.
Hey, I love you.
I love you too, darling.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, we got Natalie here. Let's see what she wrote. Oh man, you're hitting home with the idea of disappointment. LOL. So I struggle with the dynamic of being in the world, interacting with others. Okay, let's just stop at that part right there. You are not in the world, and there are no others. So who's saying I struggle is actually the ego. That is not you. So let's just take whenever something like that comes up where it's I struggle with this. Well, of course you're going to be struggling with it, because the sense of being in the world is for the ego. That's not like, you know, the sense of being in the world that's not a true sense. Interacting with others, yes. Interacting with others, seemingly, yeah. And having high ideals. Oh, this is good. I see where this is going, I think. Having high ideals of how a day could go. Sort of like this day is a gift, and I like to squeeze a lot out of a day. And I find it hard to find others who want to join with me in creating days that are super memorable. Okay, there's no day. I know what you mean about starting a day like that. I do that too. I wake up in the morning. First thing I do is let myself get a really good sense. I learned that from A Course in Miracles. It was like the suggestion at the end or something like that. Because people are like, what do I do now? Let yourself feel really good and then notice when there's a contrast. Your job is not to make your day good. It's only to notice when there's a contrast. That's it. Is it that simple? Yes, it is that simple. Does the ego want to make it something else? Yes. The ego wants to make that ineffective and working really hard and doing some shit as what will get you what you want. Okay. So you're just getting a sense in the morning of how good you can feel so that you can recognize when there's contrast. When you're recognizing there's contrast, you're going to know, you're going to know if you've had the mind training like I know Natalie has. I could tell by the way she talks and stuff. I could tell she's had some certain training. If you're willing to just notice, you're going to see that there's a choice being made. You're making a choice. So when you're looking for others who want to join with me, want to join with you, when you're looking for others, you are already making a choice that you're lacking something. You're already making a choice right there. It's condemned already. It's already condemned already to fail. Okay? You don't need anyone. You do not need anyone. You need everyone and you don't need anyone. It's like that. You need everyone because you're showing each other the way home. They're showing you the way home. Their reactions to you are pointing you to the thread of bliss. That's why you need them. You do not need them to do anything other than what they seem to be doing. That is actually perfect. That's perfect. Yes, it's hard whenever you think that you need things to be different. Here's the thing. This may seem weird to you right now. This may seem really strange to you, but you're going to find out that you actually love it exactly the way it is. The trying to get it to be different is a habit. I did this with my husband for a long time. This is a first came known to me. My husband is the sweetest fucking husband you've ever seen. Okay. I met him when I was only 21. I kept on breaking up with him because he just was, that irritates me. That fucking bothers me. That plus you're like kind of like an older dude. So like, I'm not doing any kind of, I'm not overlooking anything, fucker. So he kept on going, oh, I could be like that. Oh, I could be like that. Like maybe like 10 years later, I don't know, 15, I don't know how many years later, somewhere in it, I realized maybe I don't want him to just keep on doing whatever I think I want him to do. Maybe I'll just be quiet when I think I want him to do something different. Maybe I'll just be quiet, right? Then I come to realize, wow, I want him just like he is. I want him just like he is. You know, I used to bother him and tell him, hey, I want you to go to these spiritual things with me and do the spiritual stuff with me. Otherwise, you're not like being a good partner or something like that. Man, did I feel disappointment. It's like what you're talking about. Wow, it's my partner. They're not going to join me and whatever, you know. The thing is, we don't know what we want. We have no idea. You know how, you know, what you really want is what you're getting a perception of right now. But like for future, you don't know what you want. Okay, so that's one of them. So I find myself alone doing epic things all the time, going like, where are my buddies? Okay, that passes. that passes. So, and it'll pass much quicker and easier if you're willing to see that that's the ego. Where are my buddies? Where's this? Where is this? Yeah, that's the ego. You could laugh. Enjoy that time alone because it passes. All right. Enjoy it. And once you get to the point where you're like having all these people around you all the time and you're partying all the time, you might look back fondly on that alone time and be like, oh, wow. What was I crying about? Why was I looking for something? And so I get resentful of people's egos. Okay, so there's only one ego really. There's no people's egos. And that one ego doesn't even really exist. We made it up. We just made it up together. We agreed that we were going to have an ego. All right, we're going to perceive as an ego. Let's say that. We're going to perceive as an ego. It doesn't exist. Thinking it must be their ego that is getting in the way. Well, now you can laugh at that thought, right? When you have the thought that their ego is getting in the way. I love it when that occurs for me. I absolutely love it. I might get a thought that someone is something because of their ego. And I'm like, oh, that's great. I'll have a great belly laugh about that. It's because of the ego. That's the ego saying that. Isn't that good? I think you're answering my question as you're talking with Nael and Asana, but I'll send this anyways. But the main energy is this being so disappointed in the way ego interferes with the potential joy in each day. Yes, that is all you choosing ego as your guide. It's very disappointing for you. It's not disappointing me because I know it's an awesome lesson, right? But you're choosing the ego as your guide, and that's why you're getting disappointed. It seems like you're disappointed in other people's egos because you chose the ego as your guide. Whenever you're making a thought meaningful, that's like, where's my buddies? Where are the people I get to play with? Where can I, that's the ego. So you're giving by taking that thought seriously and actually making a question out of it, which I'm not saying you're at fault for it at all. I love it. I'm glad you made a question out of it. The reason you made a question out of it is because you're not seeing that question in and of itself is the ego. And thank you for bringing it up because that's something that goes on for people all the time. And then that becomes another specialness. Oh, wait a minute. Interferes with potential joy in each day drives me crazy. That's the point. That's the point of it. Where's my buddies? For me, it was, where's my teacher? Why don't I have a teacher? Do I need to go somewhere and find a teacher? Do I need to go on a pilgrimage or something like that? Where is my teacher? And then the guidance was just like, when I would let go of this and realize that not be identified as this one that's saying, where's my teacher? I'm not even the one that's having a resolution that's saying I'm going to save the world. That's also the self-image. You could say it's the ego. You could say it's whatever. It's not like it's good or bad. It's just that it's like you step off of it. Let that play. Just let the play. Let the play unfold. It's okay. There's no I like that. And that's it. Okay. Oh, and then that becomes another specialness. Like I am special because I know how to let go of my ego. Isn't that so cool when you think you know how to let go of your ego? And then you get a perception that no other people outside of you, they don't know how to let go of their ego. Isn't that so fun? And see, the thing is, perceiving a person as having trouble, let's say, letting go of their ego. I get that perception all the time. People having trouble letting go with their ego, but I'm not upset about it. See, then it's just making an observation where you could be helpful. As soon as you're upset about it, like, let's say you seem to be trying to be helpful and they're like, fuck you, you don't know what you're saying, talking about. Then, you're using it for upset purposes. That's all. You're just using it for upset purposes, but you're going to be able to be helpful when you can observe that someone, it seems to be unable to release their ego. You're going to be helpful in that because for one, you wanted them like that so that you can get the release for them. You want it like that so you can get the release for them, and trust whenever you get the release for them, You have given a gift that's not going to be thrown away. It's not going to be taken back. It's never going to go away. No matter what you get the perception of, that gift is received. And you, if, as long as you don't doubt it, you're going to see the manifestation of it. It's just the self-doubt comes in and it makes things seem to unwind much longer. But anytime you do give a gift, as in anytime you try to heal, sincerely try to heal, you're successful. Okay. You're not trying to heal when you're thinking that they need to let go of their ego and you're feeling upset. That train of thought that they need to let go of their ego needs to be allowed to fall away. Okay. It's only useful, that thought that they are having an ego, having trouble with an ego, anything like that. It's only useful in the context where you don't have an upset feeling associated with it. Then it's something that's useful. You can use that to be helpful. Automatically, you're going to be helpful where you're getting this kind of relief, okay? And then I'm out enjoying the world with no one to share it with. Okay, so it's kind of like you paint a picture of yourself enjoying the world while other people are missing out because they're in their ego. Now you can tell there's an upset feeling about it because there's a question about it. No upset feeling, no question. So that's how you know, is you're asking a question about it. So it's like as if here you are identifying with the separate self, as if she's out enjoying the world with no one to share it with. Okay, that's not really enjoying. That's an illusion of enjoying. Okay, because there's a sense that you have no one to share it with. Guess what? Whenever you're enjoying, you're sharing that with everyone. So you're going to go deeper into joy. You're going to learn a lot more about joy, and how you're sharing, how that is sharing. And because it's sharing, you're getting the benefit of that sharing immediately, and you have no question about it, and you don't need anything. See, there's a neediness here that goes along with this. It's like this stickiness, like I need others to be with me on this. I know this, I've had the experience myself. And the way to see through this is to keep on asking for your sight to be restored. I'm wrong about this. I'm making this up. I want it to look like there's no one to share it with. Isn't that fun? Makes it so much more enjoyable to play these games. All right, so I'm going to say that one is an answered question. If you like to follow up, okay. Thank you too. Thank you. If you'd like to follow up, just let me know. You're also welcome to come on and talk with me if you want to give a signal for that. Either just write to me or raise your hand. You can raise your hand on Zoom. If you're watching on Facebook Live, you could just come on if you look at the top where I posted it, you can come on Zoom, okay? And if I don't get to you this time, I'll get to you next time. Yeah. Okay. What else do we have? We have more Q&A stuff? No? Okay, thank you. Dismiss. I have a couple new people on today. Thank you. I didn't even do that thing where I say what you're supposed to do as far as raising your hand and how that works and everything like that. But I think we got it. Pretty good. So, yeah, so I'm super excited about the way it was presented to me about saving everyone from judgment. Everyone that I get a perception of is representing the judgment that I wanted to make real. So whenever anything occurs to me, anything is made up in my perception that seems to be triggering, I'm ready. And I've noticed that about myself, just like in a dream. I seem to be ready for that. It's like a trigger becomes nectar for me. And and even triggers that I wouldn't recognize was a trigger before because it was so subtle, and things that are real subtle. Just letting that detachment take place. And I had one called detachment. Maybe listen to that one if you haven't already. About letting that detachment take place, because like the self image is saying what it's going to do. Now, I got the perception this morning the self image was making plans to start yoga at 5:30 in the morning, which I've been starting yoga around 6:30 to 7. And you know what? Even to start calling it instead of I started yoga around. No, it started yoga around. I'm watching the show. It's been starting yoga around 6:30 or 7. So it is like, I want to start yoga at 5:30 tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, because it seems like it's got a lot of shit to do over the next 2 days. So immediately when I saw that, I was just like, oh, thank goodness that's not me. I mean, I may very well find myself in yoga at 5:30 in the morning. I don't know. I could not. It doesn't really matter. But what matters is that I could see that this one talking that wants to be in yoga at 5:30, that's not who I am. That's all. This one talking says it's going to save the world. It's not who I am. It's fine. Okay? It's like, keep what you want, and deny reality to whatever you don't want. It's like, I don't want to be a self-image anymore. I want to know myself as I am. So anything that the self-image seems to be thinking or doing, that's becoming an it, as the self-image is doing that, not me. It's not me. When I hear myself saying, I'm doing this, and I do this, and I do this, I know, I just know it's not true. So I don't know. It seems to be changing into an it now. It thinks this. It wants these things. It thinks it wants these things. It thinks it wants to be more productive. Oh, isn't that cute? It thinks it wants a glorious hair, for instance, you know, and it's not like it's good or bad. Because when it comes right down to it, I am going to save the world. Each of us is going to save the world, but it's going to be in the moment. It's not going to be in words. It's not going to be the one saying it. It's not going to be the one saying it. I'm going to save the world. It's going to save the world. Okay. It's going to be the one who's willing to save the world in the moment where it seems like the world is fucking doomed. Or it seems like someone doesn't deserve to be saved. I'm not going to save them from my judgment. I'm going to take that to the grave. Damn right you do. You will. It's going to kill you. Like, it's literally going to kill you. Nothing else is going to kill you, but it's not really going to kill you. It literally is, but not really. See the difference? You're going to get the perception that this thing, probably a microbe killed you. But it was really the thought of separation. It was really trying to make illusions true, attacking your body that did it. All right, you guys. I get the sense that we are done, unless someone has a question. I do want to say this, though, you guys. I am going to be on another one with my friends, Linda Hope, and now I fucking forgot her name, even though she's my friend. I know what she looks like. God. Sharon Berkowitz and Linda Hope. I'm going to be on with them same time, 3 p.m. Hawaii time this Wednesday. So it's only in 2 days. Anne's probably going to come. We'll see. Anne is my friend who's usually always here with me for Wisdom Dialogues online. She might come on Wednesday too. But anyways, I have that posted to my Wisdom Dialogues online group if you want to see how to join that one. Also, I posted it to my Telegram group. If anyone didn't get that and you want to know how to get how to get on that show. It's going to be another Zoom, so you can join on Zoom. I don't know if they're interviewing me or what. I like to totally not know ahead of time just to see how it goes. You know, sometimes I feel like I made a complete ass out of myself, and I like that probably the best. So I'm just going to show up. And I've been on their show before. I don't remember what happened there. I bet it's on YouTube though. So 3:00. If you need the info, you can email me, hopejohnson@me.com. Feel free to send email there. Also, feel free to donate. It does help when you donate. I'm able to buy awesome clothes. No, I'm just kidding. I do buy awesome clothes, but what I use the money for, the donations, is for Zoom and MailChimp. I haven't sent out a newsletter for a while, but I still pay for that stuff just to keep it. There's Bitly for links, just some little odds and ends and stuff like that. And also, it doesn't hurt to support someone when you appreciate them. So if you want to do that, you can go to hopejohnson.org. There's donate tab there, or you can send PayPal to hopejohnson@me.com. Venmo, Hope. I don't fucking remember. Hope.johnson.58. I don't know. Don't do Venmo unless you email me. Okay. And then I'm live in person every Friday at Hawaiian Sanctuary, 3 to 5. So you can come see me there. Yulia, you had your hand up. I didn't forget you had your hand up. I was just finishing my little spiel.
Hey, Hope. No, I didn't think you forgot, but I was like kind of going, do I want to ask something or do I not?
Do I? Well, you're here now, so you might as well do it.
Yeah, or do I just want to chat with Hope, since I
Right.
made it here?
Right.
I think I just want to chat with Hope.
Oh,
Yeah,
so cute.
but the thing I had in mind was, as usual, I think I know all the answers, but
Good.
why not hear them from Hope?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Just kind of like help it integrate into the nervous system. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, let's integrate. So here's the situation I find myself in often. I live with both my parents, my kids, my husband. My parents get upset with my kids, and I find myself in between.
Oh,
So
good.
and like I also find it like, oh well, there is some truth in what they're saying about them, but then I also find being like the advocate for both sides. If my parents are going against my kids, I'm going like defending my kids and telling my parents how they shouldn't be criticizing them. And then if my kids going against my parents, I keep telling them how they should understand and how they are wrong. And then I'm always in between.
Oh,
and it gets like really confusing and upsetting, and yeah, and it whatever. That's just pretty much it.
Yeah. So what does it feel like when you interject yourself?
Bad, but I can't help it because I am like the pivot of it all. I kind of brought them all together. I'm like the boss here that everybody complains to.
Oh, that's sweet. You don't have to keep on carrying that role. I mean, like, one example is when my little boy Ron, when he was 4 years old, he used to say "fuck you" to everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And people would look at me like I'm supposed to do something, and I'm guessing that you're getting that same kind of thing. People are looking at you like you're supposed to do something.
Well, it's my people that live with me,
Right.
And towards each other.
Yeah.
Like, oh, like, those your parents, say my children.
So it's
the grandparents, they're crazy, or the grandparents, those children, they're disrespectful and lazy, even though they're young adults now. So more so because they're young adults.
So you're making reasons why it seems like you have to interject. Yeah,
I guess.
It probably seems scary. It probably seems scary to just be quiet.
But they're all coming to me. If not me, then who?
Well, yeah, exactly. If not you, then whose self-image are they going to help prop up?
Exactly.
It's just self-importance. You're not in a situation. You're projecting a situation.
Well, the thing that's talking, you know.
You're projecting, yeah, you're projecting that situation for yourself. The thing that's talking, that doesn't mean anything.
Right.
You know, you're making a choice whether to see that you're projecting this situation, or to make it to where you're kind of confined here, like you're obligated to do something because you're in charge. Yeah, so you're under no obligation on anything there. And you know what? When you realize you're under no obligation, you just listen without taking a side. So watch yourself trying to come up with what side is the right side to be on. You don't need to take a side. But you have to take a side when you take the illusion as if it's true, and you're forced to take a side.
I just realized I sometimes start these things myself because I say something that causes that.
Right. It's well, see, like Nael was talking earlier about someone having addiction. This is the only kind of addiction there is. It's these mental addictions to certain patterns. You get a particular feeling out of this, and you're addicted to it. Even though it hurts, that's why it's an addiction, because you're getting a feeling out of it that hurts you.
Yeah,
But
that's an old one. Remember?
What?
Remember, it's a really old one. It's like being upset with how your kids are. It's the same thing. I still get that, you know, and it's so hard to to believe that it's just an addiction to a feeling sometimes.
Yes, that's right. In the moment, there's a scary thing where you don't want to believe it because you're afraid to believe it. So
it's more like you don't know how. Like you want it to be that way because that seems to be awesome. Oh, it's just an addiction to the feeling, you know.
So then you're not trusting.
No, it's really bad. It's really fucked up, you know.
Right. So then you're not trusting that the means are available to you. All it takes is your will. In the moment, you're unwilling to see. In the moment, you're unwilling to see, because the means, you're making a story about how do I do it? You don't need to know how. You're gonna see how. You're gonna see how. It'll be shown to you. But you know, you need to have the will to know, for the means to be presented to you.
And also it goes between like I need to do something to I don't need to do anything. It needs to resolve itself. But both are somehow forced.
Yeah, it's just an unwillingness because you think that this self-importance piece of it is true. And that's being given you because that's the lesson that you need to see through. You wanted it this way. You wanted it to look like you were really important in all of this. So approach it like dropping self-importance.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got this.
Thank you, Hope.
I know you do. You want to fuck around with it for a little while, and you know you're gonna have to at some point just be like, okay, that's enough. I'm actually tired. You're just gonna wear yourself out.
I guess I'm just don't get tired easily.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And that shows that's demonstrated in your workouts and stuff like that too. See?
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Isn't that fun? Isn't that so fun?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, wow, she's a tough cookie.
Self-importance.
Yep. Okay, I love you.
Love you too. Thank you, Hope.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Oops, I don't want to remove you. All right, David, I'm up to yours now. How can I approach men in the community who don't understand consent nor listen to women who say no, especially those who push tantric sex as their main way of deep connection? I want to delete them, but then they are still around harming others. A specific person seems to hide behind their spiritual identity. Yeah, this is very common, David. Okay, so when you get the perception, this is very common for people in a spiritual community, because the ego can grab on anything. Okay, the ego can grab on anything and be like, hey, now I'm going to heal these women by getting all up in their cooch. I'm going to heal them by sticking my junk in them. And they get these ideas, right? It's like, oh, just give me someone to heal. So it's like, how can I approach men in the community who don't understand? Okay, so David, let's just take this same one, like I was just talking about with Yulia. This is self-importance, okay? The men in the community, they will be approached when and how they need to be approached. This is not for you to figure out. If you're having if this is making you serious, let's say, this is making you feel serious or concerned in any way, that there's men who don't listen when women say no. They seem to be crossing the women's boundaries. Yes, I've heard about this myself. If this kind of thing makes you feel upset, let's say seems to make you feel upset, because it's not capable of making you feel upset. You're not something that can get upset like that. It would be more like, David, you want it that way. You want it that way because it's something for you. You want to have a perception of men in your community. I'm getting the same perception, okay? So I want to have a perception of men in my community who don't know a no, right? So if there's an upset feeling in reaction to that, that's where the compassion comes in. The action, it will take care of itself. I'd be a fucking firecracker. It trips me out. Sometimes it trips me out. You know, I told this one guy, because he was looking for help from me. He was saying, these women are saying that I'm a sex abuser, and I want you to talk to these women, and I want you to, teach them how to be spiritually mature, so they're not projecting their pain all over everything. And I said, okay, well, you're the one coming to me for help. So why do you suppose you're projecting women who are having a problem with you crossing their boundaries? Why do you suppose that's the case? And all this defensiveness came up, and I'm like, okay, that's how I can help you. That's the way I can help you. If you're willing to look at that, why do you suppose you're making that image? It's not like anyone's reacting to you outside of yourself. They're not reacting to you outside of yourself. So, David, when you're not reacting to the community abusers, let's call them, when you're not reacting to the community abusers, then you're going to perceive yourself getting opportunities where you're actually able to get through to people, actually able to see, or it's just going to be a non-issue for you, which is also great. It's really great. Everyone is learning exactly what they need to learn throughout all of this. Now, whenever anyone comes up to me, I just help them with their own misperceptions. Some people get the wrong idea of me and think that I'm going to go and tell those girls, hey, you guys, you know what? You're all just making it up. Why don't you leave that fucker alone? No, I'm not interfering with people like that. I'm not going to be interfering with anyone. If they're asking me, if those girls are asking me, hey, I've been getting this perception of people crossing my boundaries. How can I get that to stop happening? If they're asking me, I'm going to be happy to share. But I'm not going to go up to them and say, hey, you know what? What you're doing to him is bad and all this, they're playing it perfectly. I don't need to intervene with that. I don't need to intervene in any of this. It's not for me like that. Now, the way you know that you have a healing opportunity is if you're getting a reaction. So it seems like you're saying, I want to delete them. I'm not sure what you mean by that. You're welcome to come on with me. You can let me know by raising your hand that you want to come on, or just text it to me. You want to delete them. I don't know if you mean delete them on social media or what you mean by delete them. They are still around harming others. Okay, so let's take what I said earlier about keep what you want. Let everything else be denied any meaning or value. So in this case, okay, or community events. Okay. So here's the thing about deleting them on social media or community events. You can't help that if it does occur. And the only thing it would be for is forgiving that in the moment. But when you get when you get any kind of confusion about it, if there's any kind of confusion about it, upset, anything like that, that's where your opportunity is coming in. That's where you need compassion, because the only way you're going to get a perception of a person in the community abusing other persons and react to it is if you lack vision. It can only be because you lack vision. So the vision gets restored to you, and the vision is really what's healing. And you know, anytime you give a gift of healing, it's for trusting that the gift was in fact received. It was received. Okay. You might get the perception of a person, you know, well, this person makes a lot of people uncomfortable in the dance or whatever event you got going on. I'm just going to not have that person invited to the dance. Fine. There's no right or wrong to that. Remember, separate the levels. Don't get confused by the levels. Anything that arises on the surface, that is one level. Anything that arises in your mind and the choice between illusions, choice between illusion and truth, that's another level. On the level of the world, you have all these different choices between all these different things, apparently, but you don't make any choice. So the person might be saying, David, you're a fucking asshole because you deleted me and you shouldn't be doing that. And that will be where the lesson is coming in. Then you're able to feel with that person. I feel you. I know what you feel like. It's kind of like this vibe, you know, it's kind of like you're feeling with them, how it feels to be rejected from a community event. You're feeling with them and you're thanking them for giving you that opportunity, you know, and it's not like they're wrong. You're not making anyone wrong or anything like that. This is just how it is. Feels like it's going to be more comfortable like this. No big deal. Oh, I understand that you're upset about this. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. That's all. It's really simple. There's not anything, there's not anyone for you to approach. However, David, you may get the perception of yourself approaching someone. You're not approaching anyone. You're dreaming that you're approaching someone. So the thinking that that's your objective to approach someone, thinking that that's your objective, that's not you. I don't know what I want. Show me, and you're open for guidance. Thank you. I can have compassion to speak directly to them about what I've witnessed and heard. Perfect. Yeah, you can. I mean, and you know, if you're called to that, you're just excited and eager to find out how it is going to play out. How is it going to play out? I don't know. I'm sure you have enough compassion to be able to communicate with them. I'm sure of it. And the more there's willingness to release self-importance in that, the more you're gonna get a perception of it being really smooth when you do speak to them directly. See, isn't that fun? And who knows, maybe I'll be speaking with them directly too. We shall see. So I told one friend, I was like, hey, you know what? It's not considered healing to a lot of women when, you know, you're thinking that healing involves their yoni. And you're thinking that their healing involves their yoni. For a lot of women, that's like, yeah. No, thanks. And, you know, for some people, it's really hard to tell what a yes is and what a no is. And that's because we're projecting onto each other. We're not present with each other. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to read the signs. You know, in ignorance, a person can't read the signs. You know, it's perfectly reasonable that person, if they want to attempt attend an event, they have some certain rules. It's perfectly reasonable. You know, that's not a problem. It's like, yeah, you can come to this event. Here's the thing, you're social distancing. until there's a sense where, you know, you can make out what people want and people feel comfortable and stuff like that. You know, that kind of stuff, it just works out on its own. It's kind of like the advice from the spirit is presented to you as you go along through feeling, because the advice from spirit is never specific. It's always through feeling. Again, it's that thread of bliss. We're going for that. So thank you. I appreciate you, David. I really love that you joined, and I love that question. And I'm really grateful that you've got your eye on it, and you're also open to allowing the compassion for yourself in that moment. Okay. So here's the thing about compassion. We don't have compassion and then we keep it, like we got it hanging around, like we got it in our pocket, got it over our shoulder or something like that. We don't have compassion like that. Compassion is only available in the moment. It's in the moment where it seems like there's lack of compassion, and that's always within our own energy field. So we're just allowing the compassion for ourselves and allowing everything to unfold. I'm very confident that all this pervy energy kind of stuff in the community, or what would that be called? It's kind of tantric with not noticing boundaries. One woman this weekend told me that she's like, hey, that crossed my boundaries. And the guy goes, I don't want to process with you. Hey, when you stuck your finger in my cooch, that crossed my boundaries. Get away from me. I don't want to process with you. I don't want to have that process with you. You know, one thing that'd be really helpful, David, if you got that, you know, I'm not really familiar with you. I'd love to meet you if you're around here. I think you are. But one thing that's really helpful in all of that is noticing that the community that we get a perception of is actually for us to undo the sense of separation within ourselves. So the ego thinks in terms of going out and helping people in the community, when it's really like they're popping up for us, showing us where we need to shine our light on our own mind. You can say, resolve the sense of separation. To resolve the sense of separation, there really isn't any community like that. It's only presenting itself so that we can undo the sense of separation. Now look at a community. Now, if you got this, David, about everything we perceive is actually coming from us. When the community, and I've noticed my community, which is our community, I've noticed the community being more thirsty for the information, for the knowledge that allows for peace. Okay. When the community is aware of what this is, there's going to be no more of that. And it's the whole world. And the only way for the community and the whole world to be aware of it is for each of us, because we're projecting a subjective world, an apparently separate subjective world, is that we're allowing that freedom for ourselves. So to know that if I can picture people who don't know how to honor boundaries in my community, that's because I lack vision. And so I'm using that perception to allow my vision to be restored. In that way, you're all helpful, not just for your community, for everyone in the world, which you absolutely will save from judgment, condemnation, fear, sickness, and death. So, hooray, everyone. I think we're good for the day now. I love you so much. Thank you for joining. It's been such a pleasure to be with you today and always. Thank you for joining. Until next week. Hooray. Mahalo, aloha, and a hui ho.